Brooklyn Independent Television.
Formed by Missy Mazzoli, a visionary composer and keyboardist based right here in Bed-Stuy, Victoire is a unique all-star, all-female quintet that combines a dreamy postmodern sound with indie chamber electronica. Now let's go meet the all-girl power band whose sound is chicly unique.
My name is Missy Mazzoli, and I'm the composer and founder of the band Victoire. We have been together making music for about 3 years. And I've been living in New York for 2 years at that point. I've been working as a composer and running music festivals, but I really missed performing. And I really wanted to get my 4 best friends together in a room to make music and also to be in the band and perform it myself.
Missy and I's instruments are kind of the odd ones out, but also a very special part of the group because we do all electronic stuff. I have a digital analog synthesizer. I do processing sounds. I do different electronic effects. So in that sense, I'm not really fit in with the whole chamber sound, but that's actually one of the things that I enjoy most about playing in Victoire is that twist on the traditional chamber expectations, because you do hear parts of it, because obviously Missy is a really well-trained composer and she can write really well for chamber music, but then we add that extra quirky element and it just makes it very unique.
There's a whole generation of musicians out there who were trained classically but grew up listening to different kinds of music. That kind of omnivorous spirit tends to reach out to and touch a lot of different audiences. We have people who come to our shows who've never been to a classical show before. It's kind of taking that classical tradition and then exploring where can we go with this. And we're all really good at our instruments, great, but how can we further push those boundaries?
The hardest question anyone can ask me is what kind of music do you write? Because I don't know, I'm trying to create a new sort of genre, and everything I write is sort of this coming together of all my influences. I really love classical music, I love classical instruments, I love going to hear orchestras, but also, grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I love indie rock, and I love pop music, and I love jazz, and I love sort of all these different things. So I think that the music that I make is really all of those influences coming together. So the music for Victoire, sometimes I say, oh, it's indie classical, or alt classical, or indie pop. Sometimes I just say, oh, well, it's new music for old instruments, because what gives the band its sound is really the string instruments. We have a violin, we have a double bass, and we also have a clarinet, and then we have 2 keyboards, which are very modern sounding, and then all these electronic sounds that sort of bring it into the 21st century. So with every song, with every piece, I'm trying to create a new genre and trying to do something totally new. So when people are like, well, what kind of music do you write? It's hard to talk about it without comparing it to something in the past, and I don't think it has many comparisons to things that have happened before.
The first time that I ever played Missy's music was actually before I really knew her, and I had heard this piece of hers called Orizzonte. I never told her this, but I used to play it almost every night, and her music alone, outside of her wonderful personality, is what spoke to me the most, and so I'm really honored to be playing her music in this group.
Well, I think the genre has nothing to do with the fact that we're women. I think that's just a coincidence. We're all very adventurous, both as people and as musicians. And it was just sort of a fortuitous thing that we all happen to be women and happen to have the same kind of vision for this group. We've sort of grown together as a group, and every new experience is part of our sound and our group dynamic.
Overall, it's been really amazing, and like the response from the press has been really good. And I love it because it's sort of, we've been getting really good press from classical outlets as well as indie rock outlets. What's great is not just what they're saying, but that they're even reviewing us at all, you know, and really hear it as classical music. It's always sort of the first and last question that I get is, what is this called? You know, what is this music? And the older I get and the longer I write music and the more music I write, the less I have an answer for that. And I'm like, I really don't know. You just have to listen to it.
Follow us on Twitter at BK Independent TV.